Hey there, it's me, Nate, and today I got my hair cut. But more importantly, I want to talk to you guys about The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. Now, The Rising Storm is the follow-up to The Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. It's like the next of the main books in the High Republic story. There are, some of the young adult novels, and then like the comics, alongside these. But as far as like the main major plot beats of the story, The Rising Storm comes up right after Light of the Jedi. Now, before I go any further, I might give like some light spoilers for Light of the Jedi. It's kind of hard to avoid, since this is like a sequel. So if that bothers you, I would recommend going and watching my my Light of the Jedi review. I'll try to put that on screen so you can click to click on that. If you want to go watch that review first before watching this. But let's get into The Rising Storm. So this book is a bit of a disappointment. It in some ways it is like it tries to, in my opinion, it kind of does what Light of the Jedi already did, and then just does it worse, without really expanding the story, the characters, or this era of the High Republic in much of an interesting way. So, The Rising Storm takes place about a year after Light of the Jedi. Just like Light of the Jedi, it follows multiple characters. Like, each chapter, it kind of goes from one character to another, jumping around. But the main characters are Elzar Mann, who we saw in Light of the Jedi, Bel Zettifar, who we also saw in Light of the Jedi, and Stellan Gios, who was mentioned but we didn't see, and now he's like one of the focal characters of this book. And Stellan Gios, he is a master on the Jedi Council. He's the newest member of the Jedi Council. And to me, he isn't a very interesting character. He's very kind of whatever, I could take him or leave him. He doesn't really do anything for me. He thinks very kind of highly of himself, but like not in like a really arrogant way. He comes off as pompous without meaning to. But beyond that, he comes off also as a bit naive. But yeah, that character just didn't really do anything for me, which is a shame because he is a pretty big focal point character for this story. And then Bel Zettifar is a bit more interesting because with him, he is still struggling with the loss of his master, Loden Greatstorm, because he is still kind of like holding out some level of hope that Loden is still alive, when all evidence points to Loden, having already that Loden's already dead, and Loden already told him that he was ready to become a Jedi Knight. But Bel doesn't want to move higher without Loden there. So he is still a Padawan, but now under Indira Stokes. And then Elzar Mann has been, after becoming a master in Light of the Jedi, has now been selected to be the marshal of this planet called Velo in the Outer Rim. And the marshal of the Jedi outpost on Velo. And Velo is the location where the majority of this book takes place, because similar to like the Great Disaster in Light of the Jedi, the main event of The Rising Storm is the Republic Fair. And this is another one of Chancellor Lina So's great works. She's hosting this huge Republic Fair on the planet Velo, where there's exhibits, there's, and like it showcases all of the culture and technology, and allowing, like a place for like peace talks with groups or planets that are not yet part of the Republic, as a way to like showcase how, like how great this period of time is and how strong and like unified the people are. And so that's going on, with like the on Velo, and Elzar, he's helping with the preparations for that, and he's like still struggling with like the vision that he had in Light of the Jedi, and like his emotions. And then the other, like, some of the other Jedi are coming to the planet, to help out with like guard duties and stuff like that. And then the Nihil are Markin Rowe. He is like, preparing like kind of like the next level of his plan. He is like searching out like this ancient like kind of like artifact that will help him, that he believes will help him in his quest to take down the Jedi and take down the Republic. And, as the book progresses, you'll see those two, like, stories come to a head. Because while Markin Rowe is also trying to take down the Jedi, he also has to watch his own back to make sure that the Tempest Runners don't try to, like, take him down in the meantime. But, so that's basically what's going on in the Rising Storm. I feel like Cavan Scott had like an interesting idea, but I feel like he wasted a lot of time. This is like a 400-page book, and the first probably like 250 pages is like a lot of buildup, and then like what the actual plot progression all happens in the last like 100-something pages. Because the first like 50-60% of the book is basically like the Republic Fair is about to happen. A lot of like people talking and politicking with each other, which are things I like. I do like politics and like political intrigue and stories. It just wasn't, it wasn't done very well here. And introducing a few new new side characters. There's Ty Vorik, who is like this like she calls herself a saber for hire, and we get like a couple tidbits about her past, but we don't really get the time with that character to make her make her inclusion worthwhile or significant in any way. We get the Chancellor's son, who similarly might as well not even been in the book. And then so like the first good chunk of this book is a lot of build up about this Republic Fair. The fair starts, and then stuff starts happening, and then the like last third of the book is a lot of just like rushing through plot points. So I feel like this is a very unbalanced book. On paper, it's like bullet points on paper. A lot of the stuff that happens in this book is fine, but just like the way that this book is paced out is awful. I feel like you could have cut like maybe 100, like probably over 100 pages of this book and had a tighter, cleaner story. The Rising Storm is like a rough read, and then like by the end of it, I was like, there's like some cool kind of new things in there. I want to see where it goes from here, but compared to the great start of The Light of the Jedi, this is like a real disappointment, a real bummer of a book. I had to really push myself to get through the last chunk of it because I was frankly bored and over it and ready to be done. But yeah, that's my review of The Rising Storm, quick and dirty. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it a 2 stars out of 5, which in my books which on my scale is a bad book. It's I read it because I want to continue with the story of the High Republic, but it's definitely not great, and it doesn't. I feel like it really didn't add as much as you would hope to for the ongoing plot. But definitely, you should probably, if you want to read all the High Republic stuff, you probably should go ahead and read this, just so you have like all the details. But yeah. that's my thoughts on, well, those are my thoughts on The Rising Storm by Cavan Scott. If you have any, thoughts about this book or about the High Republic stuff or Star Wars books in general, let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, have a good day.